Tonight, still no real answers after a drug overdose scare in central Georgia. 2 years ago, this week, local emergency rooms saw a string of patients suffering from cardiac arrest, even organ failure from overdoses. You may remember more than a dozen people became ill after taking little yellow pills. They were falsely labeled as Percocet.
Now, several people died, but in our check with the GBI and local law enforcement, no one could tell us if any arrest of any people responsible. In tonight's 13 Investigates, Raymond Tubbs shows you what, if anything, has changed since that summer.
The 2017 overdose outbreak, but after more than 4 decades investigating drugs, he's seen plenty of change.
Probably the biggest issue has been the rise of heroin.
There's a larger variety of drugs on the streets too, even in this quiet rural county.
We see a little bit of everything. We see marijuana, cocaine, crack, meth, prescription medication, pills, oxycodone, heroin.
The overdose risk is high enough that the sheriff's cars now carry the overdose reversal drug naloxone.
We keep it right here in the console. Usually we keep 1 to 2 individual, I guess you would say, hits of it, and we're all required to keep them in our cars in case of a overdose.
They've actually saved a life with it. And drug investigator Barron Hall says the overdose risk is so real these days, he's hearing of an interesting trend. Addicts on the streets packing OD reversal drugs.
They'll have a partner with them, and usually they will carry Narcan so that if they do go off in what you would say, as the slang term, the nod, when you start kind of going out of it, they'll hit them with a shot of Narcan to get them back awake and, bring them back out of it.
Not everyone is that prepared, though. The latest federal overdose numbers from Georgia are from 2017. As you might expect, Bibb and Houston County showed the highest numbers of ER visits and hospitalizations from opioids that year, with 90 for Bibb and 89 for Houston. But then rural counties like Jones, Putnam, Crawford, Peach, and Monroe also saw some higher numbers. 14 counties reported deadly overdoses involving opioids or heroin. Bibb led the way with 22 combined, followed by Houston at 7. But then comes Monroe, Jones, and Crisp with 4, and Lawrence and Dodge with 3 fatalities each. Despite that death risk, people in law enforcement and in treatment, like Dr. Cesar Figueroa with Coliseum Behavioral Health, say they don't see much change.
I believe the number of people using opiates out there has not changed significantly. I think the danger really lays on what you can find in the streets at any particular time.
You don't know what you're getting, and you're taking a risk. You're gambling your life.
In the meantime, more addicts mean more families touched by drugs.
I don't think there's any family in the country that is not affected by drugs in one manner or another.
Raymond Tubb, 13 WMAZ News.
And since the overdose outbreak 2 years ago, Georgia has launched a tracking system for reported overdoses. It's hoped the system may help spot overdose trends even more quickly. It's available online, and if you go through the data, you'll see that in the past year, Bibb and Houston have each shown up in the top 5 for overdose rates during different months.
Dr. Figueroa says there's another troubling trend they're seeing: college-age people coming in with drug-related problems who had only smoked marijuana. Dr. Figueroa says when they test the drugs, they find the pot is being laced with some of the same dangerous drugs found in street pills and heroin, like fentanyl. If you or a loved one needs help with addiction, we have resources for you at 13WMAZ.com.